My name is Chris O'Leary, and I'm a survivor of the Catholic sex abuse crisis in the late 70s and early 80s at the Church of the Immaculata in Richmond Heights, Missouri, a suburb of St. Louis. I was sexually exploited, abused, and assaulted by a priest named Father Leroy Valentine. Abuse that was witnessed, at least in part, by then Father and now Cardinal Timothy Dolan, who lived and worked with Father Valentine, overlapped with him at the Church of the Immaculata from 1977 to 1979. And then things got really bad. I went to, basically in the light of Spotlight, the Spotlight articles, the aftermath of Spotlight, I went to the Catholic Church, the Archdiocese of St. Louis, for help. Then Bishop Dolan called me back. I wanted to know what my memories meant, what happened, what they were saying, if what they were saying was true. Cardinal Dolan told me it didn't mean anything, that Father Valentine never did anything, that he couldn't have done anything, that it was impossible, that what they were saying about Father Valentine was impossible. It was all, none of it happened, nothing happened to me. So it's October 5th, and the French report just hit about the Catholic sex abuse crisis, numbering hundreds of thousands of victims. There's a lot of controversy about that. And it's funny, it's a coincidence, but I was thinking about, probably not a coincidence, I was thinking about this on Sunday and ranted about it on Sunday a little bit. And I'm here for the record. I'm at my spot. I have my feet on the sidewalk in front of the Cathedral Basilica of the Archdiocese of St. Louis. On the sidewalk, not standing on the steps so I don't get arrested. But on Sunday, I went off on a bit of a rant because this phrase keeps going through my head. I'm very frustrated with lay Catholics. Lay Catholics act like they want things to get better, but they're not doing anything to get better. And the phrase that keeps going through my head is this: the way out is through. The problem that I was talking about on Sunday is that too many Catholics, basically the Remainer Catholics, the Catholics who are left in the Catholic Church, they believe that if they don't talk about the sex abuse crisis, if they trust the Church, the sex abuse crisis will just go away. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to engage with survivors. They don't have to listen to survivors. They don't have to do anything to protect their kids. The Church will take care of everything. I hope it's obvious, based on what's coming out of France and what's gone on over the past few years, some of which I'll discuss in a second. The Catholic Church cannot be trusted still in 2021. It couldn't be trusted in the 70s, couldn't be trusted in the 80s. It can't be trusted today. And the reason is that people like Timothy Cardinal Dolan, who saw and turned a blind eye to our abuse in the late 70s at the Church of the Immaculata in St. Louis, are now running things, and they're in charge of things. You cannot trust the Pope. You've got Vos Estis Lux Mundi, which a lot of people think fixed a lot of things. The fact is that Vos Estis Lux Mundi is a sham. And that was the heart of my rant on Sunday, was calling out Catholic journalists, prominent Catholics who know my story, who follow me on Twitter. I know they know what's going on because they follow me on Twitter, yet they refuse to talk about Vos Estis Lux Mundi. It's been more than 2 years since Vos Estis went into effect. Nobody seems interested in running articles that discuss whether Vos Estis is being enforced or not. And in fact, Vos Estis Lux Mundi is not being enforced. The Pope enacted the law June 1st, 2019, but he refuses to enforce the law because to do so would require that he hold accountable people like Timothy Cardinal Dolan and other potential future popes of the Catholic Church. And that's simply untenable for the Catholic Church. They believe that the Church and its future popes are more valuable than lay people. And I find that completely unacceptable. And the message I have to convey to Catholics is that the way out is through. Too many Catholics think that by ignoring the problem, that it will just go away, that they can just kind of go around the problem, the abuse crisis. If they go around the sex abuse crisis, then it will go away and they won't have to deal with it. And that's simply not what's happening. As I would hope the events of France that are coming out of France, the numbers that are coming out of France make clear. You can't go around a scandal of that size. And the problem is you cannot trust the Catholic Church to fix its problem. Vos Estis Lux Mundi, which people are counting on to have fixed the problem, was a sham. There's a Survivor's Bill of Rights in Vos Estis Lux Mundi, which I've made multiple appeals to the Pope and to Rome, including via a letter delivered by Cardinal Sean O'Malley, the Archbishop of Boston. I've never heard anything back from the Pope, from the Vatican. Nobody cares. Vos Estis Lux Mundi is a sham. If Catholics want the Catholic Church to reform, to improve, to get better, to be safe for children, the way out is through. You have to go through the sex abuse crisis. You have to start confronting people. You have to confront your priests, your monsignors, your bishops, your cardinals, and even the Pope. You have to confront them and make it clear to them that unless they fix the problem, actually, then you know that nothing's going to get better and that you're simply out. And I don't want the Catholic Church to die. I feel bad if the Catholic Church would die, but I know that the death of the Catholic Church would save people, would save children at a minimum. It's a tragedy that the Catholic Church would have to die to save children, but that's the way it is right now. So, my message of Sunday, which is all the more appropriate here Tuesday, October 5th, is that the enabling has to stop. There are many Catholics, many prominent Catholics, many Catholic writers, editors who know about Vos Estis Lux Mundi, who refuse to do the Vos Estis 1 year later, 2 years later articles that would expose the sham that is Vos Estis. And there are other things going on besides Vos Estis Lux Mundi that are just as problematic that I talk about on my podcast, Sacrificed. You've got everything that's going on in Knoxville, Tennessee with Bishop Rick Sticca, who, for whatever reason, come hell or high water, is dead set on ordaining a multi-accused seminarian who's been kicked out of multiple seminaries for sexual assault, sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and who raped someone. And he's still on the path of ordination. In fact, he's in St. Louis somewhere, probably down there by SLU. That's where the seminarian, the multi-accused, multi-abusing, rapist seminarian continues on the path to ordination in St. Louis to be ordained by Bishop Rick Sticca, the Bishop of Knoxville, Tennessee. Some of that is being covered by people, which at least is a good thing, although there's the convenience of Bishop Rick Sticca and what's going on in Knoxville is very convenient. I've never been asked about the things that I've written about Bishop Sticca, the Pope, the false promises of the Pope, the problematic behaviors, the ongoing problematic behaviors of members of the Catholic Church, the enabling by the Catholic publications, the Catholic press, prominent Catholics. There's too much enabling going on. People think that going around the problem will solve the problem, and that's never been true. That's certainly not the case now. The enabling goes up to and includes prominent Catholics here in St. Louis. You've got the former Attorney General of the state of Missouri, now Senator Josh Hawley, who enabled the Catholic Church. You've got the current Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Eric Schmidt, a Catholic who I know from Mary Queen of Peace, my former parish. They are enabling the Catholic Church. They are helping the Catholic Church cover things up. They are doing, Schmidt at least is doing his duty as a good Catholic in terms of protecting his church. In 2019, Hawley never did anything in 2018 with his supposed investigation of the Archdiocese of St. Louis. I begged them to talk to me multiple times. They never talked to me. Schmidt then took over that investigation. I was verbally attacked by a family member of one of his Schmidt's senior lieutenants in it would be late 2018. When I told Schmidt's team what was going on in 2019, rather than investigating my claims, which is, effectively told them where the bodies were buried, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Senate candidate Eric Schmidt, he just killed the investigation. Rather than investigate the Catholic Church, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt decided to enable the Catholic Church. And that's the problem, that's the lingering problem, the continuing problem that too many Catholics are also doing. Instead of fixing the problem, instead of addressing the problem, instead of pressing their priests, their monsignors, their bishops, their archbishops, their cardinals, the Pope, instead of pressing the issue, too many Catholics are simply trying to go around the problem, hoping the problem will go away if they don't look at it, so they don't actually have to do anything. And in the entire history of the world, that's not how things work. The way out of the problem, of the crisis that the Catholic Church is facing, and that the news coming out of France should make all too clear the magnitude of the problem. If there were hundreds of thousands of people abused in France, imagine how many more people were abused in the United States. It has to be high hundreds of thousands, if not more than 1 million people. And what's happening to fix the problem? Precious little. You've got PR exercises like Vox Estis Lux Mundi, and those remain PR exercises. They do not have teeth behind them. The Bill of Rights for survivors that the Pope established in Vox Estis Lux Mundi is not being followed because lay Catholics will not press the issue with the Catholic Church. They think, they hope, they pray that the problem will just go away, but that's not how Satan works. That's not how the Catholic Church works. If Catholics want to want to save the Catholic Church, if they want to change things, then Catholics have to change their attitude. They have to start getting tough with the Catholic Church. They have to stop enabling the Catholic Church. They have to start asking the hard questions. They have to, on the steps of the Cathedral Basilica like this one here in St. Louis, confront your bishops, confront your archbishop. Ask them what they are doing. Ask them why they are not living up to the tenets that the Pope established in Vox Estis Lux Mundi. The way out is through. You're not going to avoid a problem of this magnitude. You have too many people like Timothy Cardinal Dolan who saw and turned a blind eye to my abuse, running things in the Catholic Church. They're too powerful. They're not going to change because they're living the life, they're living large, they're having fun. Why would they do anything to compromise the lifestyle that they've established for themselves? They were rewarded for their actions in the 70s when they turned a blind eye to abuse, in 2002 when they when they helped gaslight guys like me as adults. They turned a blind eye to us, to our abuse as children. They gaslighted and have further abused us as adults. Why do you think that those people who think they did a good job, who think they saved the Catholic Church, why do you think that they're going to do anything to change things? The way out is through. By confrontation, by confronting the evil people, letting them know that you're on to them, letting them know that what they're doing is no longer acceptable, that you know what's going on, that it's not acceptable. If you want to help survivors, the time is to start acting. The way out is through. You have to start addressing the the sex abuse crisis in the Catholic Church in the United States head on. You have to start confronting the people who are responsible for it, who are perpetuating it. Things are not going to get better by avoiding things. Things have not gotten better since the 70s as a result of all the avoiding. Things have not gotten significantly better since 2002, the Dallas Charter, Spotlight, all that. Things have not gotten significantly better, especially for survivors. Children are not fundamentally safer because people like the seminarian that Bishop Rick Sticka of Knoxville is so desperate to ordain because of the actions of the Pope, who is ordaining his own problematic people. They don't get it. They don't care. They don't think that sex abuse by Catholic priests is a big deal. If you want the problem to be better, the way out is through by communicating to the members of the Catholic Church, especially the hierarchy, that you are onto them, that what is going on is unacceptable. That's the only way that things are going to get better. It's scary, it's difficult, it's intimidating. These are people you were taught to respect. I dealt with it myself. I dealt with it just right here at this spot at the Mass of Reparation for the sex abuse crisis in 2018, when I was ignored, shunned by all the priests who formed up on the steps here. It took me 3 years to get over it, but I understand, I understand what happened. It's just Satan. If you want to save the Catholic Church, if you care about the Catholic Church, if you think the Catholic Church is worth saving, the way out is through. It's not easy, it's scary, but if you take your faith seriously, I hope you'll listen to me and take the lesson that I've learned. If Jesus Christ can do what he did, entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday to a known and certain faith, then you and I and we can do this.